The world is undergoing an unprecedented urban transition. More than half of the world's population are already in cities. If we're going to get sustainability right, we've got to get the development of our cities right, because that is where the majority of humanity will live, work, play, and consume resources.
So the Sustainable Development Goals, as we fondly call the SDGs, were adopted in 2015 by 193 heads of state when they gathered for the celebration and meetings around the 70th anniversary of the United Nations. There are 17 Sustainable Development Goals, and they're further broken down into 169 targets and even more indicators. They're a path for us to move forward together toward a better future.
The SDGs provide a collective framework for action. They provide a set of ambitious targets, and to achieve those targets, it requires that we work together. And this means working together across departments at a city level, but it also means working together across levels of government. It means working together with businesses, and it means working together with community organizations and citizens.
The framework itself is designed as an integrated approach to sustainability. We have to achieve each of those goals as a society in order to have sustainability. You can't leave one out and still be sustainable. So cities really reflect the totality of the sustainability challenge as we move forward.
Being that it's an international framework, it's also important to keep local priorities at the forefront of the work because it's right for your community. For a municipality, it really is about waking up to what does it mean to localize the SDGs? What does localizing look like? For us, it's been a cyclical process, and we're in the early days of localizing the Sustainable Development Goals.
We call the activity at the local level localization of the SDGs. And there are many ways that we can do this. Part of it is through general things like awareness creation and reporting. But I think even more than that, if we look at the individual targets within the SDGs, we will find something in every goal that is relevant to the local actors. So for example, SDG-relevant, which deals with cities and communities, talks about protecting cultural and natural heritage. It talks about affordable and accessible transportation. It talks about access to green space. It's really in the local communities we have our greatest impact and our greatest attachment.
If we think of sustainability as being the traditional three pillars, society, environment, and economy, and we look through that lens at our cities, what we see are incredible opportunities for economies of scale, because we're able to deliver infrastructure on a per capita basis much more efficiently in concentrated areas, which cities are. We also know that where you bring people together, you have a net benefit independent of other factors on the economy of that region. And then we have our third pillar, which is society, or the social dimension. Bringing people together in a context where people have access to resources like education and health and social proximity really generates opportunities for people to find ways to live together in diversity, in ways that are more socially just, in ways that are more inclusive. And I think that it's really those three pillars that cities provide significant comparative advantage for on the planet.
Once you have an understanding of how your community is doing, it's about taking action and being very strategic about the actions you take in order to make progress on those Sustainable Development Goals. And it's also about accountability.
Other cities and examples like Winnipeg, Kelowna, London, Peterborough, they're starting to track SDGs, especially around SDG-relevant sustainable cities. And the other thing they're doing is they're using the SDGs and they're looking at how they can begin to frame their sustainability plans and their sustainability efforts around them.
This is really a roadmap as to how we can work together to ensure that the global poor are provided with a more equitable access to resources and opportunities, and at the same time embed environmental values related to planetary sustainability.
as we look to the future, I feel it's important for all of us to understand that the future is an urban future. And that means we've got to find ways to live together that are equitable and celebrate diversity and make for a world that we want to live in within the resource constraints that we have. And I really believe that cities are the new development frontier, and that's where sustainability ultimately will be won or lost.